It's me, Ari Dossett. Closing borders won't solve anything. Several days ago, this 12-year-old girl was murdered in France by this 24-year-old woman who was in France illegally. She came several years ago there on a student visa. Her visa expired. The authorities told her she had to leave France. She didn't do it. And she also had mental issues, they said. And she, at least this is what's coming out, she raped, tortured, and murdered this little girl. Now, at this point, it's all alleged. The woman has not been convicted yet. But I see a lot of right-wingers saying that's why we need to close borders. All those people need to go where they come from. Then everything's going to be better for us. As long as all the borders are open, we're in danger. Hold up. When I go back in history, when borders were not that of an issue, where there was no mass migration, there was also crime. And hold on. You seriously think that saying to everyone who's a foreigner that they need to go is going to solve everything? What about the corner foreigners who are married to one people from your country? What if you have people from your homeland who are born overseas, but they have your nationality? Or what about the people that don't share the same culture as you, but they're second, third, or fourth generation migrant. So their parents, maybe even grandparents, were born in your country. So by law, they're not considered foreigners anymore. What about them? What about all the people who don't share the same culture as you, but they have businesses and financial assets in your country? If you deport them all, and then you either have to take away all their financial assets, which will be perceived as communist robbery, or if they leave with all their assets, you're going to have a big hole in your own economy. Look, the idea that the other is dangerous and we are the innocent victim, it's a psychological trick that the masses fall for. We, which is extension of the me, this narcissistic view, focus on me and everyone like me, us. We are alright, there's nothing wrong with us. It's them over there. Let's project every defect and dysfunction we as a community have on others. Am I saying that there are no foreigners who bring danger with them? Of course they are. But does it mean that by banning every foreigner there's no danger anymore? Come on now. There are enough psychos internally that the public has to deal with. Oh, but I forgot, people don't want to admit this. It's all about those asylum seekers, those foreigners, those people who are not like us. If they're like us, they're safe. Hold on a minute. Aren't most murders committed by someone you know? It does happen occasionally that a stranger murders a stranger, but most homicide, including most crime, happens between people who know one another, so it happens when people who are similar. Conflict is most likely to arise between people who are similar, not people who are different. Because people that are different aren't in the same space often, or if they are in the same space, they operate in a segregated way. You are more likely to be in conflict with those who are similar to you, and you're more likely to have escalation of conflict between people who want the same things. So based on that alone, this whole idea of closing borders will solve all problems, I'm sorry, but it's a fairy tale. Some of you don't want to hear this, but you need to hear it, and I'm saying it. Closing borders is just that, closing borders. It won't solve anything. In some cases, for some countries, it may even increase some of their problems. Because other countries can say, okay, listen, oh, you want to close borders towards our citizens? Then we close borders towards you too. And then you're going to have a trade war. Listen, a lot of people just want to escape. And this whole issue of closing borders is a form of escapism. Yes, there are foreigners who may pose a threat to your homeland, but there are also enough locals who pose a threat. Why don't you focus on your own locals first? Why don't you focus on your locals to improve or manage your locals, and then your own homeland is safer, and then you can effectively deal with potential threats from the outside. But right now, the locals themselves are not dealt with, but corporations now exploit foreigners. Because that's often what happens. Cheap labor or expertise from the outside. So what happens now is that you haven't dealt with your domestic issues as a nation or as a country. So your locals, who may pose a threat, now feel left out, now they feel rejected, because some of the foreigners get a better treatment. And now they're going to get more and more dangerous. And when a foreigner acts crazy, oh, you see that? Oh, those foreigners should get rid of foreigners. But you forgot the people internally, your locals, you've neglected. Even if you kick out all the foreigners, you still have to deal with the locals you've neglected for all those decades. What's going to happen when all the foreigners are gone, the borders are closed, and the locals who are time bombs are still there? They're going to explode. Who are you going to blame then? Who are you going to port now? I'm not attacking anyone here who thought that or who thinks that closing borders is the solution to a lot of the problems that the Western world faces. I'm just telling you the facts. Closing borders is a type of escapism. It's a fairy tale in which you think that if we do this, it's all going to get better. I'm telling you it's not. It's time for people in the West to actually face their issues as grown folks and actually reflect on themselves as communities, admit that something's wrong with them and they need to deal with themselves. Putting all the blame on the outsiders who come in who are not like you, I'm sorry, but that's narcissistic and you won't get ahead with that. Well, that's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ, be at peace, and don't fall for political fairy tales. Be at peace.